Hello, everybody. Well, my name is Hamlet Lavastida. I am from Havana, Cuba, and I just want to introduce here some ideas and notions about my artistic practice, as well ideas related with the specific situation of this sanitary crisis. Well, from the very beginning, my work is embedded in the idea of creating to collect an archive, a linguistic archive, a symbolic archive, or iconographic archive of this very specific circumstance of how was implemented socialism in the early days of Cuban Revolution in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. In that sense, for me, it's very important this due to the lack of historiographic sources that we have in Cuba, and also information and communication of their daily conditions of our reality. It's important for me that idea, that quote of Rodolfo Walsh, the Argentinian writer, when he said, give testimony in difficult time. Dar testimonio en tiempos difíciles. So this is very important for me because at that time and that moment, I decided to really confront reality, creating a personal archive of certain iconographic and linguistic terms that are not recognizable by many people in the Cuban society. In that sense, for me, today is very important to continue to create and that a register that also could be part of the whole society. Uh, During many years, we in Cuba are suffering these doctrines that put us in the very hard condition to live and also to confront historiographic narrative, ideological and political narratives. So today, I understand that the world is living in a kind of political crisis, but as well a sanitary crisis, healthcare crisis that are putting the citizenship in a very stressful situation. And this is my way also to convey that idea and experience that we have from Cuba due to the harsh condition that we already have there. So in that sense, it's important to understand culture. It's important to understand the role of culture as a kind of a bunker when artists could edificate and create and resignify the reality today. Today, we are living in the reality that is absolutely representational, is absolutely communicative. This is a very important because this is the role basically of a creator to really continue confronting that imaginarian explosion in front of our face. Also, it's important to understand that today's society itself is creating a kind of a collection of their daily experience because, for instance, mobiles, social network tools, or even a notebook could be the perfect diary. That perfect diary that also, or as an archive, like Immanuel Ringelblum think in the years of Warsaw occupation in the 1939, when he really campaigned to the citizens of the ghetto to create an archive of their daily experience. In that same ideas, we can understand today how we really are doing somehow the same exploration about that collection of our daily experience. Especially in those days of confinement, we can see how people are even exploring more conditions that they were already established in the world of creation and artistic representation. For instance, for many philosophers and thinkers in the 20th century, they were thinking the idea of the permanence of culture as the immanent basis and ultimately a way to express our notion of the reality and ideas in the world that we are living, but also the world that is next to coming to us. So many thinkers like Antonio Gramsci or the same Walter Benjamin, they were thinking those idea of the permanence of culture through politics. So in that sense, we understand today those thinkers and those creators as futurologists, that they were really predicting the future, the real condition that the human is going to live in the next generation. So that for me is so important to understand that dimension, because there were dimensions that they already established there, and today's society is understanding in absolutely capacity. I don't know if I can explain a little bit better that condition, because they are like a little bit complicated somehow, because they were established in the thinking, but also in the arena of creation. So in that sense, I would like to extend my invitation to continue to doing that. Well, this is something that already the people around the world are doing by itself, and I don't know if my invitation is quite something surprising. But well, in my specific case, I will continue to doing that, but with the very specific notion of a manufacture, paper, drawing, of creating a register of my daily reality. Also, I like to talk about a little bit about this idea of journalistic experience. Many people are taking today this kind of journalistic dimension of recording their daily life, a kind of diary, as I said already. But I would like to create also an archive of abstraction of thinking, because this is what really motivate a little bit to confront creativity of our reality. So journalism in that sense is important, but it's a notion that is a little bit distant about what really is the imaginarium of human poetics and symbols. So in that sense, I convey to create also an archive of abstractional manners, of symbolic ideas that could really edificate the world that is coming in the future. So I don't know if this is enough. I think it's a little bit complicated to do it, and I think it's even to better to demonstrate it in facts, even to demonstrate it in image and productivity that I'm going to do. So in that sense, I just really think and convey to the people to establish a fundamental thinking and fundamental question about those issues in today's reality, because it's absolutely important to understand that we are already immersed in the representational discourse, in the productive discourse. So in that sense, in the symbols arena that we are today fighting, we have this perfect bunker to establish our answers, and also our fundamental question. So in the meantime, I don't want to extend more, because in fact I'm a practical artist that do things in practice, and to talk is sometimes in the front of a camera it's a little bit complicated, but I will try to explain this even more with my work during this time period, this whole year of residency. Maybe next time I will say something more related with very specific circumstance, and not divagate so much in this ultimately hypothesis of ideas and representation of discourse. Well, I just want to thanks again and say goodbye. Bye.